George, welcome back, I think, to KLEAN Radio.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we could hear you, George.
Inglewood.
Yes, I called you a few weeks ago. I am a daily drinker. I quit 3 different times, 1980 for a year, 2012 for a year, and 2010 for a year.
Right.
And but let's note that I know I can't. I just don't like. I get more reward. I don't get as much reward from not drinking as I do from drinking. I feel good that I can do it for a set period of time.
Uh-huh.
But there's more reward on the other end, and I don't like the control that it has over me.
You don't like the control the alcohol has over you?
Yes.
And you were saying you get more reward from drinking or from not drinking?
From drinking, because the reward that I got from not drinking was, okay, well, bully for you, you can do it.
Well, why don't you tell us what your definition of reward is?
I love the feeling I get at the end of the day from sitting down in the recliner and having a couple of stiff drinks.
Sure, but are there consequences that are coming along with that?
Not really.
Well, you just said it has control over you.
Well, I can't. Well, when I don't do it, I miss it. Like when I decided to go a couple months ago, I decided to go for 30 days, and I did. But I missed it. I mean.
And you were probably miserable in that 30 days.
Not totally miserable. I was for a couple of days, but after that, I was fine.
Okay, so you had some rewards in that 30
hats off
days.
to you, buddy.
Yeah. So George, what did you do in that 30 days when you didn't drink?
I just, I don't know. I can make up my mind. Like I was, as you know. Probably well know, smoking is probably harder to. I don't understand the difference in addiction, but that's a horrible addiction. It took me 20 times to quit smoking, but in 1987 on my birthday, I had set that date. I was going to quit smoking, and I did.
Congratulations!
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, and
Judy,
I
you
was
gotta
4 pack
smoke?
a day.
But George, let's get to the point of the drinking. What's going on in your life when you stopped drinking, were you going to see a therapist? Were you going to 12-step meetings? What were you doing?
I went to all the time when in 2010 and then again in 2012 when I went for a year. I went to AA meetings. For the life of me, I don't know what the people get out of it. I had a sponsor. I mean, the whole thing doesn't make any sense to me.
Happiness, joy, freedom.
Did you try working the program at all? Or?
No, I didn't. I guess they would call me a sober.
Or dry drunk.
A dry drunk. Or whatever.
Right.
I didn't get anything. I didn't absorb anything they were saying.
So you basically went to the doctor's office and didn't take the medicine that the doctor suggested. It's like if I go to the dentist and I have a bad tooth infection, the dentist says, here's your antibiotic, and I don't take my antibiotic, and I complain that I'm not feeling better, but I went to the dentist, so you went to the dentist and you didn't take the antibiotics.
Well, I left them with a challenge, and nobody challenged me. I said, I don't think I have to. I don't think you people all are here because you didn't have anywhere else to turn to. I don't have to drink the whole 6-pack. I don't have to drink the whole pint. I don't have to do any of that stuff. So I'm not in the position. You people didn't have a choice. I still have a choice. It's more of my argument.
But George, we all have a choice.
Sure.
But here's the thing, George. Are you happy right now?
No, but I wasn't any happier when I wasn't drinking.
Okay, so you're at a quagmire, right?
There's a crucial time. There's a crucial time,
right.
Judah, between letting go of the drink and having a spiritual awakening. And in that time, it feels like it's not getting any better. And I loved your analogy, and I use the analogy with some of the guys that I help. It's like breaking your arm. You can go to the doctor, and the doctor says, listen, I'm going to set this thing, and it's going to hurt, but it's going to heal better. But I say, no. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through the discomfort. I don't want to go through the darkness before it gets better. I'm just wrap it up the way it is. And in time, you know what? It does feel better, but it never completely heals. And I think that going just to AA meetings doesn't solve the problem. I think what really needs to happen for a true alcoholic, which you may not be, I don't know, but a true alcoholic works the steps and has their own spiritual awakening, and then they discover what it has to offer instead of relying on what other people think it is.
George, I'll tell you what. Let's do the George challenge, okay?
Okay.
I mean, let's try it out, okay? Are you ready for this?
If it involves quitting without me having plenty of time to prepare, that won't work because I have to.
Okay, how much time, George? And I just want to tell you,
George,
I do.
by the way.
I love him too. Yeah. And George, I love your honesty. Just remember this: non-problem drinkers never have to say, "I need to prepare to stop drinking."
Okay.
So, George, here's the thing: how much time do you need to prepare to stop?
I have to want to first. I know.
Well, George, you called a radio show that deals with addiction and recovery. Obviously, there's a part of you that wants to stop.
A part of me.
You told our call screener, George, that you don't like the control the drinking has on you.
Correct.
Right? So you said that. That's your words. I want people to understand this out there that are listening to KLEAN Radio, that I'm not saying this to George. I'm not saying you called and you said alcohol has control over me. And that's a horrible feeling. Anytime anything has control over you, it's a horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And I want to tell you something, one of the coolest things, and Robert could talk about this. One of the first steps, one of the first steps they talk about is admitting powerless. And I'm sure you might have a hard time with that, George, because that's a hard word for some people, is saying that this thing, I'm powerless over it. Am I wrong? That you might have a hard time with that.
I'm going to find out tomorrow.
Okay. Here's the thing.
What I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to wait until after 6 p.m.
Okay.
Before I have a drink.
There you go. And
if I'm powerless over that, then maybe I can be reckoned with. But
sure,
if I can wait till
it's always suggested that you try some controlled drinking.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And it seems like you've been trying this though since 1980.
Yeah.
George, that's 33 years ago.
And you don't have to want it, by the way, and you don't have to need it. You just got to do it.
George, just for you, man, that's a long time to be, it's like, you ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Yes, I'm one of my favorite movies.
It's one of my favorite movies, too, and it's one of the great parallels, I think, to being sober. And, in the end of the movie, I think many people, Robert, struggle with this, right? He climbs through this tunnel, and smelling like it smelt, and he crawls out smelling like a free man, right? So many of us, George, you're staying in that tunnel. You smell prison and you smell freedom, and you've been staying in that tunnel. And George, there's so much more than smelling like the inside of that tunnel. And I beg of you to crawl out to the other side.
Yeah, misery can always get refunded.
Yeah.
You have everything to gain and nothing to lose by just taking some action and making it a little inside job, as opposed to, having the thoughts and feelings be a barometer for you.
George, I'll tell you what though. Can you do us a favor? Can you call us back next week?
Okay, I'm just going to ask you one question.
Yes.
Why did the 3 times a year for 1 solid year, 3 different times? Why did that have no effect?
Because George, you didn't take your antibiotics. You went to the doctor's office, you got diagnosed, and you did nothing for the solution.
Recovery doesn't happen through osmosis.
I mean, George,
through experience.
George, you sound like a really smart guy, right? So let's say you have a gash on your arm, and you keep on putting a Band-Aid on it, and you don't get stitches. You know you have a gash on your arm. But even just knowing you have a gash isn't going to fix it. You got to get stitches. And sometimes therapy, AA, the 12 steps, psychiatry sometimes. These are Band-Aids that some people need, George, or stitches. And that's essentially what you've done for the better part of 33 years.
Okay.
And does that make any sense, George?
Yes. Yes, it does.
And I'll tell you what, George, since you had a hard time at a 12-step meeting, if you decide you want to go to a 12-step meeting, you let us know. Robert and I will come and pick you up and take you to a 12-step meeting.
There's one right around the corner from where I live, and I've got to know some of the people there.
Okay.
It's not that I can't go.
Well, we'll meet you there if you want.
But I didn't get anything from it.
Because right, you didn't get, and that's okay, George. And do me a favor, George. Next week, give us a call.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, George.
All right.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. That was George in Englewood. And we're in the studio tonight with Robert Russler, actor, father, everything. Yeah, Robert.
Funny, I totally get George,
Yeah,
by the way.
I get George. Like, that's the thing. I get it.
In fact, I've said a lot of those same things that George was talking about, so I get it. I asked an old-timer. He had 56 years clean and sober. And old Charles. I said, hey, Charles, let me ask you a question. Why do you still find it necessary to come to AA meetings? He said, I come here to help people, kid. I don't come here to get something. So when the approach is, how can I contribute? What can I pack into the stream of life? How can I help others? It takes the focus off of me, and I get out of me, I. And I realize, and I'm able to utilize life instead of analyze my life, and I become free and strong. When he says, what does AA offer? It's not even what AA offers. It's what the universe, what God offers, and that is joy and freedom and happiness and love and responsibility and opportunity and all the things that I didn't get from that bottle or staying alone in some motel room.